Hi everybody, and welcome to the Preferred Adventure Center for another Trailblazer Tuesday. Today we're going to go over something that we did last week a little bit and talk about and then extend on it. Okay, so I don't know how many of you are out there are aware, I'm sure everybody here is, a guy named Simon Sinek. He wrote a book some time ago called Starting With Why, and I strongly advise that you go to the internet, look up Starting With Why by Simon Sinek. Look for a YouTube video. It's 18 minutes and some odd seconds long. It's really good. It's worth watching. And then if you really want to get into it, read the book. It's worth it. And I'm not going to go over what he did, but for the sake of the thousands and thousands who are watching at 8:35 in the morning, I'm going to give you the short version, all right? Real short version. Basically, he says most people and most organizations, they know what they do. Let's see if I can spell. They know what they do. Some organizations and people, they understand how they do it. But a very, very small number of organizations and people, they know why they do it. And Simon calls this the golden circle, and for a lot of good reasons, all right? So we spent a lot of time in the last several weeks preparing, and then on Tuesday going over and coming up with our why, because we decided this was really, really important that we know why, and you should watch the video. You'll understand why it's important. And we came up with what we think is a really good why statement, and then some other guiding principles that came from that. And that's wonderful. But lots of corporations and lots of people, they have mission statements that end up being plaques on the wall, and platitudes that are said and sometimes talked about but really not used. So today we're going to go the other way around. We figured out our why and our guiding principles. Now we're going to go out to the how. All right? So I'm asking, now that we know these things and we've defined them, how are we going to use them? This is the interactive.
We didn't have time to study. We're going to go out among our clients and our contacts and implement our why in a fashion through give and take and understanding our client as hopefully as well as we understand ourselves.
Absolutely. Now, I can tell you from reading another book called Good to Great, but this makes sense, all right? If you want to have a great organization, you have to have great people. The most important deciding factor is having the right people in the right seats on the right bus. The guy who wrote the book did a lot of studies on the whole thing. He backs it up with a lot of scientific proof, but you know what? We don't really need that. That just makes sense, okay? So going forward, when we bring new people on, we're going to make sure that they fit our why, right? Now that would obviously, if we surround ourselves with the right people, it's going to increase our odds of success, correct? The other thing, there's really only two broad categories that you actually use it in, and that's the who and helping you decide what to do. You know, if you're presented with an opportunity that doesn't fit your purpose and your guiding principles, or even on a smaller scale, some decisions day to day, you shouldn't do it, okay? And so the why helps us pick who we work with and what we do. Now, does anybody here not see that that would be incredibly important to the success of an organization, right?
Correct.
Well, if it's incredibly important to the success of an organization, do you think it's also incredibly important to ourselves as individuals?
Maybe more important.
How many times in life, I bet very few of us know people who have defined the purpose and the principles that they're going to live by, and then use those principles to surround themselves with people with similar purposes and similar principles, and choose what they do based on their purpose and their principle. But if you took the time to define what your purpose was and your guiding principles, don't you think life would be a lot more fulfilling?
Yes.
All right, so that kind of defines our little. Next week, I'm going to give you an idea how to do that. It's very similar to what we went through as a group to come up with our agency why, but we're going to talk about that. The next couple weeks, we're going to talk about finding your personal purpose, your personal guiding principles, and then putting them to use in your life. And I think that'll be, I think the power of an organization where the individuals know their purpose and the organization knows its purpose, and we're all at least know that our purposes mix, complement each other, that all of us will have a lot more, well, we already have a really good time at work, so maybe that's not it. But I think it'll be, help all of us be more fulfilled, because you spend 8 hours a day at work, it should be someplace you find fulfilling. All right. So, thanks for joining us for Trailblazer Tuesday. Remember, life is never going to be a walk in the park, so don't just go on a walk. Go on an adventure.